commissioners.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wins up there at all. How many here have been to a Board of Supervisor meeting ever? Okay, like 6 or 7 of us. I've only been to 2. We don't even know what goes on there. It's this quiet government. They get paid real well. They get great benefits. They don't have to work very hard. They just come in and staff that's getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars says, here's how we're going to spend more money. Rubber stamp.
Who are they rubber stamping?
They're
Whatever
cronies.
staff brings before them.
They're friends.
The administrator probably doesn't like that.
It's the path of least resistance. Staff is busy growing stuff, doing stuff. They bring it in, or you got to do other things. The head of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, came here a couple weeks ago. Maybe you saw it on the front page of the Quad City Times. That's a huge, very powerful federal agency. Okay, that has a lot of impact on a lot of things throughout the United States. There's over 5,000 counties in America, 365 days in a year. And that head of the CDC decided to come to Scott County. When that happens, I want a supervisor like John Riley or John Green or Jesse by that guy's side the whole time he's here in town. I want to know what the hell he's talking to our staff about. That's not Ross Perot or Republican or Democrat. That's just common sense and accountability. That's what we need.
That's one thing.
Going back to the local, the reason local is so lean.
Stand up. Oh, they're quoting 20-year bonds.
Speak up. A lot of us are familiar with makes news all the time. Sheriff Joe was talking about.
That way they're long gone.
He's able to do that because he's got a county support, county supervisor backs him up. Funding, all this other stuff. He's got a county attorney that's not special funding. It's a team. You have to show the team. I grew up in a small county in Colorado. And our county sheriff, the FBI, ATF, did not do raids unless we heard it in work. He listened to the scanners. And he'd catch him trying to do a raid. He'd go out and tell him, if we do this raid without my guys on site, I will arrest all of them. Okay, when the state sent state patrolmen, the state patrols come desperate for money, they start writing all the tickets. They were pulling little lady, old farm ladies pickup trucks, big reason barely did 45, and the state patrolman wanted to give her a ticket for a busted tail light. And he said, and he called the state, he said, this state patrol is too aggressive for my county. And they're living in my county where they send themselves the rest of the day in my jail. So he said, these are our people. We're supposed to be serving the people, not harassing them. And so you get that strong county government. You've got Sheriff Mack in Arizona, who refused to enforce the assault weapons that you've got Sheriff Joe Ohio that he'll go out and do a raid and send them to jail. He'll put them out in the tick city. We have the ability by getting this done locally to have the kind of government that represents us. Because we think the separation of powers, we think judicial, legislative, executive, but our founding fathers gave us another separation of powers, the vertical separation of powers. You have the county government, the state government, and you have the national government, the separation of powers. And Thomas Jefferson mentioned that, roughly paraphrasing, that he said, the government's best is closest to the area of concern. So on your property, you're the government on your property. You know what's best for it. When you go to the city, anything that's within the confines of that is best managed by the city. The founding fathers understood this vertical separation. And right now we're trying to get the county to quit playing lip service to the national and state and say, wait a minute, I am a sphere of authority that is separate and distinct, and I have my own roles and responsibilities to get out of our affairs.
By the way, the state of Iowa, we're a home rule state. It's not very many states actually are home rule. So we do have the legislative law supporting us as far as the city being able to run their own affairs locally. As far as legislation goes, the county can run their own affairs locally. As far as legislation goes, the only thing the local city and counties do not have power to do would be obviously to violate the state constitution. They can't do that, or the state law specifically, or to raise taxes without permission from the General Assembly. So we are a home rule state, in case you've ever heard of that. That's the law that specifically states that the local communities can make their own laws for their own local affairs. So it's a good advantage we have here in Iowa.
So how do we stand with our county government?
What's that?
How do we stand with our county government system? How do you feel like it is? Are we,
How is it run right now?
yeah, are we in good shape,
I
bad
think,
shape?
personally, I think it's out, my own personal opinion is it's out of control. There's a lot of ignorance of the law going on. I think we have a lot of people in county government and in city government that are what I call yes men. They take orders from the federal government and they don't question whether or not it's legit, whether or not it's legal, and whether or not it's violating people's rights. I have personal experience even on our own county courthouses where I was told I wasn't allowed to have a jury, wasn't allowed to have it recorded during trial, and I had to bring in briefs and show them the law. And here are judges that have been sitting on the bench for 15, 20 years that are surprised, prosecutors that are surprised when they see the law, state constitutional law, and statutes, Iowa code, where I'm pointing out you have to do this because otherwise you'd be breaking the law. They look at it and go, okay, no problem. Anything else we can do for you, Mr. But sure, I'm okay, as you know, I defended my own rights because they're, unfortunately ignorant. But how many other poor folks are going every day down there and getting, through the grinder basically, and not knowing first off what their rights are, how they should be protecting them, and why is the government that they're electing not protecting their rights? That's the whole purpose of government to begin with. If our rights aren't being protected, what do we need the government for anymore? So it's like, we need to be able to obviously educate ourselves and educate our friends and neighbors. But we also, unfortunately, have to educate people that work in the government because they're used to just following whatever they were told when they first started their job. There's no checking the books, what the law says specifically, whether or not this policy is correct or not, following the law. They just do what they're told. That's what they're used to. And they might have been doing this now for 20 years. So yeah, our system is messed up. And it's been that way for a long time. And it's just kind of the norm. So this is an opportunity for us we have to unfortunately rock the boat. It's going to take a group like us to literally rock the boat and say, look, this is the law. I don't care how you normally have done it in the past. These laws were put in place for a specific reason. We need to abide by it. If we don't agree with the law, there are procedures to change that law. And we need to follow those procedures. We can't just go around it just because we think it's inefficient or it's just burdensome. Because that's what I was told about why we don't have recorders recording, simple misdemeanor trials or, things like that. Well, it costs too much. Well, I'm sorry, it costs too much to defend my rights. I thought that was the whole purpose you were here.
Now, Michael Elliott ran for auditor in 2008 as an independent, much to the chagrin of many people. And in 60 days, with less than $2,000, and really no name recognition compared to the two people he was running against, who had been sitting city council men and women, and one was a sitting supervisor, he got 8%. Was it more? Was it 9?
Yeah, it was about
9% of the vote in less than 60 days. And the reason I bring that up is that Michael Elliott, and I went into the auditor's office after the election. Dust had settled for a couple months. We met with Roxana Moritz and her team. And we had a list of things that we had some questions about. And one of them was, we wanted to see in writing the chain of custody with regards to the memory chips that come out of the optical character readers of the ballot counters, all right?